Here's Charlie Dickens, chapter 76, entitled Tinker's Escape. Unbeknownst to them, Tinker was still hiding in the woods. He'd had a close escape. The angry golfers had gotten so close, he had to climb up on the thick branches of a fat oak tree. Below him, his pursuers were looking left and right, but not above. They were convinced that he was near, but they never had an inkling of how near he was. Tinker put the gold golf ball in his pocket, and the last thing that he wanted it to do was to fall out onto their heads, and he held his breath. The men were directly below him, and he looked down to see their bald heads as they stomped over the fallen leaves and bracken. It was difficult for Tinker not to laugh, and then he was seized by a violent urge to sneeze, but he held the tip of his nose and he could feel the sneeze building up inside him. He felt like he was going to explode and his sides ached. He couldn't delay it any longer, and he sneezed quickly and violently. Fortunately for him, a cry of a crow masked the sound, and the annoyed golfers walked off disgruntled into the distance. Tinker waited until he was sure that he was safe, and he carefully climbed down the branches of the tree. He was tired and hungry, and he knew that he had to get home. Tinker thought of Charlie, and he felt guilty knowing all of the trouble that he had caused, all for the sake of a golf ball. As he walked past the golf course unnoticed, he was tempted to throw the ball back, but as he took it out of his pocket, he changed his mind. Once again, he was dazzled by its beauty. It was definitely a keeper, he thought. It was the first thing that he'd ever stolen, but he knew it would be the last. He had nowhere to go but home, and that was something that he wasn't looking forward to. There was one thing that he was pleased with. His arms and back had stopped aching. He was thankful for small mercies. The last thing he wanted was more punishment from his dad, and the thought made him shudder. He hoped that when he got home, his dad would be sleeping, and he could creep up to the safety of his bed. Little did he know that his dad had managed to stagger home, and he had not woken from his slumber. He was hungry, very hungry. His dad looked in the freezer for something filling, and he found a large pizza to feed a family of 4. That'll do, he said, and he threw it in the oven without a care, and then he turned on the heat. His dad sat back in the comfy armchair and he quickly fell asleep. It was the last mistake he made. After an hour, the creaky old oven door flew open, sending sparks from the extremely charred pizza onto the paper-strewn carpet.